make a quick video about different lens filters. There are a variety of lens filters out there for cameras, specifically like the one I'm using right now, the Canon R5, but also for things like my Leica Q2 and even Ricoh GR3. And I wanted to just show a couple of different lens filters that I've used throughout the year or two of doing photography here in studio and out in the street, and just kind of go over the benefits of all of them and what all of them do. So we're going to start from left to right, and then I'll also get into what these markers. Okay, where were we? And I'll get into what these markers are for in a minute. I think you could probably guess from the video. We're going to start here with what is known as a polarizing filter. A polarizing filter is a fantastic filter for people that want to shoot scenes through car windows, through windows in general, basically water, anything that has or shows some sort of glare. This helps get rid of that glare. So a good example of this is last week I took some photos of my friend Melissa. I had her sit in my car and I took a photo through the window of her. So here is the first image with no polarizer on it at all. And you can see, you can barely see through the window to actually see Melissa. And the next photo, the polarizer is now on. This is on my Leica Q2. You can now see Melissa through the window. There's no more glare or anything like that. These are great for people that take photos through car windows, through storefront windows, or even of like water, and they don't want to have any sort of glare on their photos. This is a fantastic one made by Tiffin. I think it's like 45 bucks or even cheaper, but this is great to have if you want to get rid of that glare and bring up the contrast a little. Next, we have a UV filter. So this is a UV filter for my Leica Q2. This is actually a Leica branded UV filter, which means it costs $150 for some reason. But basically the main purpose of a UV filter is to protect the lens element. So on the front of a camera, as we can see here, there is a lens element. That's how you see out of the camera, duh. This just screws on in, and basically what it does is it protects the glass on the lens from scratches, from dust, from anything like that. It doesn't really change any sort of optical image or anything like that. It may help with a little bit of UV reflection and UV sun like the sun, but it doesn't affect the photo really that much at all. It's just good to have on all of your lenses to keep that precious glass on the lens safe. Now, next, as you can see, I have a very unique filter right here. This is a UV filter. So this is like a $10 UV filter I got off of Amazon, but I took a orange and a blue paint marker, and as you can see, I applied blue to one side and I applied orange to the other side. And you may be wondering why I did that. Well, in a TikTok video I shared, I love practical effects. I love in-camera effects, not doing anything in Photoshop, not doing anything in post. And with this, I was able to create a unique look, almost like light leaks of photos of my friend Melissa on my Canon R5. This is just a fun and interesting way to make unique photo effects for your photos without having to use Photoshop or editing in post, to get it done right the first time in RAW, in a camera, in a photo. So I really enjoyed this. This was actually a lot of fun to make. It was very easy to make, but also the results were really awesome. And I'm gonna definitely use this again. Again, this is an Amazon basic UV 77mm filter. Super simple, super easy. I don't give a shit if this gets dirty, so that's why I bought it for 10 bucks, and it's great for fun in-camera effects. This is a lens made by Prism Effects. As you can see on it, there are these lines and gashes across the front. This is a special effects filter. It's actually quite thick as well. As you can see here, it's got this big protruding glass out. The element on here has these lines in it to give it this unique effect. I love this lens filter specifically for anything I'm doing with color or models, but I've used this many a time on a lot of photo shoots, and it gives this really fun, unique, interesting perspective and look. Again, doing everything in camera instead of post, and some of the photos I've taken with it have been some of my favorite, most unique ones. It's just a way to do creative, interesting photography. They're a little pricey. They're about 100, 150 bucks, but it's well worth it if you want to experiment and try interesting creative photography. And last is one of my favorite filters. I have it for every lens I have. This is a Tiffin 49mm Black Pro Mist 1/4 strength. This is a phenomenal lens filter for a reason that this helps get rid of the sharpness and to bloom out the highlights of your photos. Basically, we're all trying to replicate film when we're taking photos with our digital cameras, but our digital cameras nowadays are so sharp and high megapixels that it really takes away from that like filmic look we're going for. So with a Pro Mist filter, popping this on the front of a camera helps to get rid of that, super sharpness and bring the sharpness down a little, puts a nice little mist effect over it, in the name Pro Mist, but also it just helps to bloom out those highlights. This is what helps to get the feel and look of film on your digital photos. I mean, you also have to edit them a certain way and shoot a certain way, but this helps them look more like film. That's what this represents. That's what this recreates, is that bloom effect in light and gives everything a little bit of a softer, not so digital look. It's one of definitely my favorite. I just went to Disney and took a bunch of photos with my Leica Q2 with this on there, and you just get these beautiful vintage looking pastel paint-esque photos. I mean, even right now, it just makes all the photos just look so interesting. So real quick, for this lens, I basically just bought Deco Color acrylic paint. It washes off, it's safe. This is the one I used for this experiment. It's really cheap. I think they're like 10 bucks each. They last a long time. They come in a bunch of fun colors. I'm gonna actually buy a bunch more for different sorts of events, but these are super fun to make this custom lens filter right here. These are just some of the options. There's many more options out there. Again, Prism Effects makes some great ones. I actually have another one that's like a kaleidoscope. If you really want to experiment and have fun with your photography, get some filters. They're cheap, they're easy to use, they protect your lens, and they're a lot of fun. These are just some. There's a ton out there. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you go out and get some lens filters. Let me know if you do. Shoot me your Instagram. I'd love to see what people are creating out there. Check me out on Instagram and TikTok for more info. Subscribe, like, remember to just shoot, and I'll see you in the next one.